You're listening to the Plain Talking UK podcast, the UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 137 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings, and joining me in the spare room studio this week is my co-host, Matt Smith.
Hello, everyone. Yes.
You're rather tired this evening, aren't you?
I am, yes, sorry, yes. So this could be a disaster, really, but we'll soldier on.
If the right cameras aren't on at the right time, it's because Matt fell asleep.
Nodded off, yes, absolutely.
I'll have to poke him or something with a...
I'm looking at the cameras, I'm a bit... as I say, as somebody pointed out in the chat room before we started, it is literally... I am matching the windsock on my microphone perfectly, it has to be said. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to touch that.
Don't touch that.
It apparently I'm electric. Yes. Sorry
you're matching the windsock, which
apparently
is quite good.
So.
I hope I don't match my windsock, because otherwise...
otherwise you're very poorly indeed.
We would be very poorly indeed.
On the subject of poorly, we've got a very poorly Liz.
Yes, Liz
Piper, bless her,
Piper,
she's poorly
bless
in the
her.
chat room.
Yeah.
Yes, and get well soon.
Get well soon. So the chat room is filled up very nicely this evening.
They're not talking about aviation at the moment, I have to be honest. They're talking about pizzas and or other variants of food. I think it's obviously, that's the only trouble, it's obviously tea time where everybody's...
Yes. So it is the 4th of November, and, it's just coming up to 7:20 in the evening on this Friday. So thanks to everyone for joining us this evening in the chat room. Loads of people, as I said, loads of names, all the usual suspects in the chat room, including NevTech.
NevTech.
Good to see
the
Nev
of
there.
tech.
Yes,
indeed.
we've got loads of news stories, some really good news stories this week actually, and we've got some listener feedback from someone who's in the chat room. We've also got the result of our livery poll this week, including pictures to go with the livery poll.
Yes, a little bit of last minute
picture grabbing. But we have got the pictures, so we've got the results of that. We've got some really good military stories as well this week. And we haven't got a guest though, unfortunately.
No, it's just
we
me
thought we'd have a me and Matt show this
week.
Just for a change.
Yes, and this will probably be the last time we do that.
It will, yeah. And hello, Nelson. Nelson's just joined us. Greetings to you. Good evening,
Myla.
Nelson and Miley. Yeah. And the lovely Barbara's in there as well.
Yes. Yeah. Captain Nick.
Yeah. Tony S.
Yeah.
Short Barker, yes.
So many names.
I'm scrolling up. Mariana P.
Yeah.
Jennifer, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling up here the list. I mean, Paul Tricker.
Of course, to those who are listening to it on the audio podcast, this means absolutely nothing.
No,
but
if you are listening to the audio only podcast, please don't forget we do a live show each week on YouTube, streamed live on YouTube. Which you can find a link for on our Facebook page, and it's also on the Twitter page as well.
Or if you'd like the direct URL, it is www.youtube.com/plaintalkinguk/live.
It very much is.
Indeed.
So I suppose, well, do you know what? Shall we start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK? So if you're ready, Matt.
I am.
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story on the BBC News website, this one. The headline, Air France and KLM to launch a lower-cost airline.
Ooh,
I said lower, not low cost.
Right.
Lower-cost airline.
Okay.
So, Air France and KLM, or Air France KLM, is creating a more competitively long-haul airline to win back customers from Gulf carriers. Air France's new boss, Jean-Marc Jalinac, unveiled the plans, saying the firm is battling on all fronts. The new brand does not have a name yet, but Air France plans for it to offer economy and business travel on a new and reopened routes. To compete with lower-cost rivals, its pilots and crew will be employed on different terms from the main company. The status quo is not an option. We must launch a new dynamic to return to a leadership position in our markets, said Mr. Jelinek. The plan is a sign that Air France's new boss is determined to win back market share after years of painful job losses and clashes with trade unions. But the SNPNC cabin crew union expressed concern that the new airline staff will not have the same work benefits and that it would end up being a low cost for its workers. Air France plans for the new airline to have 10 long-haul aircraft by 2020. It will constitute the group's response to the Gulf state airlines, which are developing at low production costs, the firm has said. That's rather interesting, Matt. So an all-new low-cost lower-cost long-haul carrier.
I can say, because KLM didn't strike me as one of the sort of not fat cack. That's perhaps not the right word, but you know what I mean. It didn't strike me as I thought it was a sort of lower cost. No, okay,
a lower cost. It'd be interesting to see.
I don't know.
Because as we found out, Wow Air and they're doing really low cost flights from the UK to the US. There's another carrier as well. I can't remember which other. There's another carrier which does. Norwegian. Sorry, Norwegian's doing those ultra low cost fares to the US.
Airshow World, has just said, "Hi gang, enjoying myself at RAF Mildenhall."
Oh wow, lucky you, Airshow World.
We've got a story about that actually.
We have one. Got a news story coming later.
A certain sonic boom.
Oh, goodbye to Nelson. Nelson's going back to work.
Oh, dear.
So goodbye to you, Nelson. So back to story. Hopefully they'll announce the name of this this new airline at some point in the very near future.
You think they'll come up with a new brand and stuff?
It'd be a new livery, I expect. For
what sort of craft do you think they'll use? Are we talking
long haul? I mean, I would imagine, being Air France and KLM, they'll probably pick an Airbus aircraft such as a 330. Or possibly the A350, depending on how much money they want to spend.
Some tough decisions, by the way, going on in the chat room at the moment.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Paul Tricker is having a very difficult decision to make, whether it be Adnams IPA or Adnams Broadside. I go with Broadside personally. That's my my personal preference.
If I want a good night, I think I'd go with the Broadside.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it's a little bit higher in ABVs. It won't take so many.
IPA would be an easier night, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
So back to aviation.
Yeah, sorry.
So the next story.
The next story. This is on the timesofmalta.com website, and the headline is "Brawling passengers force Malta-bound Ryanair flight to divert." Oh no. They were being aggressive towards everyone, a passenger said. So a Malta-bound Ryanair flight was forced to divert to Pisa yesterday after a fracas broke out between rowdy passengers while the plane was in mid-air. Video filmed by a passenger aboard the Brussels to Malta flight showed brawlers shoving and swinging at one another as passengers lined the aisle in an attempt to contain the scuffle. The troublemakers were being a nuisance and aggressive towards everyone, Thomas Engera told the Times of Malta. Mr. Engera, who shot the video, said that the fight between the two men and their respective was between the two men and their respective female partners. Oh, that sounds like fun. As other passengers looked on with a mixture of concern and bemusement, an announcement on the flight's PA system informed passengers that the flight would be diverted. The flight captain can subsequently be heard angrily telling passengers that this is not acceptable at all before announcing that the flight will land in Bologna as a result of the fight. The plane actually ended up diverting to Pisa. According to Mr. Engera, all 4 people involved in the fight were detained by Italian police upon landing, and the police came on board the flight and used Mr. Engera's video footage to identify the culprits he recalled. The police and captain were very efficient, he said. Police came on board and took them away. After a brief delay, passengers buckled up and then continued their onward journey to Malta in peace, making it to Malta International Airport around 1 hour behind schedule. So really not that bad a delay considering.
This is probably FR 3883. I'd imagine it would be it would be the flight that I normally take.
I mean, we were trying to get permission to actually play the video. Unfortunately, I didn't get a response in time. But I can just show you the pictures,
still shot,
the still shots off the website. They're not very clear, which is why I was hoping to play the video. But not a great way to.
I had some interesting comments in the chat room actually, Matt, while you were reading the story. One from
is that why you were tittering to yourself?
Yeah, the first one from York Mola. He said that why land the plane? Just drop them off at 30,000 feet.
Yes, I mean, that is certainly a solution. I mean, obviously there are issues, as I'm sure Captain Nick would be able to confirm. There are
With that,
obviously certain issues in regard to opening the door at 30,000 feet. That may be more of a challenge than one would like.
Also, I'm just trying to find. There's one from Glenn Towler.
Oh no!
Passengers being on planes only in the UK. He says on there.
I'm pretty now. Come on, that's really unfair. I'm pretty sure that it isn't only isolated to UK passengers.
The best one, though, I think, from Tony S. Were they fighting over a Malteser?
A Malteser? No,
You're talking about
they were probably fighting over overpriced paninis. If I'm honest,
he's talking about my second home or my main home.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So I don't think they were rude about Malta.
Actually, Glenn,
it's all right. Calm down.
Glenn Towler's put a great idea: ejector tubes for passengers. Yeah, that'd be good. Can you imagine those escape pods they have on the Starship Enterprise when they have to evacuate the bridge and they have those escape pods that come off from the side?
Indeed, yes.
That's probably perhaps what they need for this. But
it could well be, yes.
But there we go. Another flight of joy. This time not Jet 2.
No,
because normally it's Jet 2.
It's unusual that it was on. It's not normally Ryanair, is it?
No, it's normally Jet 2.
It is normally Jet 2 or someone else, isn't it? So yeah, they must be slightly disappointed, really. Yes.
So the next story is for me, and this one is on the traveller.com.au website. The headline: Baltia Airlines, the airline that has never flown a single passenger in 27 years. So a US airline, which was founded in 1989 with the aim of offering a high-quality 3-class passenger service, has just taken its only aircraft out of service, despite having never operated a single commercial flight in its 27-year history. Baltia Airlines started with great promise. It aimed to offer the only non-stop flight from New York to St. Petersburg, as well as holiday packages and frequent flyer program and concierge services. But it is yet to carry a single passenger or package. The airline, which officially operates from John F. Kennedy International Airport, JFK, and has another base in Michigan's Willow Run Airport, claims it is still awaiting its operational approval from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, after 27 years. The airline is said to have failed the evaluation from the FAA 7 times, apparently due to problem with the deployment of its aircraft slides. Michigan Radio reported this last month. The carrier is said to have moved its operations to Michigan, where it is apparently easier to gain FAA approval than in New York, where Baltia failed all of its certification tests, according to the radio station. Baltia, which has earned no revenue since its inception, has accumulated a debt of more than $119 million as of March this year, according to Michigan Radio. The New York-based carrier hoped to become the leading U.S. transatlantic airline on the market, offering connections between major cities in the U.S. and Europe. And when it was founded, it was expected to begin operating flights last year, according to the company's website. But in March this year, the airline announced it would also be abandoning its plan to operate its only aircraft, a 37-year-old Boeing 747 aircraft. The plane did fly one route last year from Willow Run to a maintenance facility in Oscoda, Michigan, but it has been dormant since, Michigan Radio reported. The airline added it would be looking to lease newer and more fuel-efficient aircraft in a bid to facilitate its air operator certification process. I mean, that's such a bizarre story. It really is. Probably one of the most bizarre stories I think we've had for quite some time. I didn't get a chance to actually look up and see. I'll have a look here and see if I can find a quick bit of information on Baltia.
I mean, it just seems very bizarre that that they can operate, despite having never operated a single commercial flight in its 27-year history. I don't understand.
They have actually their website is actually currently running.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. That's something.
I'm just looking to see if I can find any more pearls of wisdom about the airline itself. Baltia Airline. Here we go. So Baltia Airlines, founded 1980. Fleet size 1, as it said on there.
Okay.
They were headquartered, or they are headquartered at Terminal 4 at JFK. And it just says on here that the application with the FAA for the carrier certification has been denied again. So.
Well, and also as I mean, Jen Niffer has just said in the chat room there, it's like, how is this airline not completely bankrupt?
I know.
I mean, I just don't understand.
It's
don't understand.
It's such a bizarre story.
Glenn Towler has said, who is like lending them money? It's like, he sounds like, Liz Piper says, sounds like Matt's ideal airline would never have to fly. Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking on the
like
looking on the photo we've got on this story of the aircraft in question. I mean,
I suppose you want me to put that up now, don't you?
What do you can do? It looks. I mean, that's definitely a 747. I would have.
There's an
said,
upstairs to it by the look of it.
Oh yeah, that's a jumbo. It's probably a 200 or possibly a 300. I'd have said a 747-200 for that age, and yeah, it's just bizarre. It's such a bizarre story.
Indeed.
So moving on to the next story. This one is for you, Matt.
Okay, yes, and this is in the Daily Express, which always makes me nervous because well, it's not as bad as the Daily Mail, I suppose. But anyway, so this is the Daily Express, and the headline is "Sky High Horror: Airline Staff Reveal Disgusting Flight Secrets You Wish They Didn't." I'm not sure I want to read this. The unsettling revelations have been prompted by a thread of posed on question site. Quora. It posed, "What are the best kept secrets of airlines and the airline industry?" The thread invited anonymous crew and other insiders to share their sordid stories that passengers aren't privy to. One of the most popular responses warned passengers not to order coffee from the onboard drinks service. Right, okay. Avid traveller Anya Mary explained, "Airplane coffee isn't made with bottled water, and airplanes' portable water isn't exactly clean." Oh, well, that's great news. Due to short layovers, there is hardly time to clean the valves properly. Another user agreed passengers shouldn't drink any water on an aircraft unless it is bottled. Another person said that the ports to purge lavatory waste and refill portable water are within feet of each other, and sometimes serviced all at once by the same guy. That's really comforting. According to the same user, onboard food trays are sometimes used as diaper changing boards.
That's nappies.
Indeed, yes. It appears those cosy blankets for chilly nights aren't always fresh either. A former staff member of a major airline revealed a sneaky trick flight attendants used to prevent running out of meals. This particular individual explained, "So you're running out of fish but have plenty of chicken to spare? Good evening, we have 2 meal choices for tonight's flight. Our first choice is an exquisite chicken breast grilled to perfection with a side of carefully steamed vegetables and a very delicately seasoned gravy that smells just like the one my grandma used to make when I was little. The other choice is fish."
Don't have the fish.
Yeah,
Don't have the fish.
If they're getting low, yeah, absolutely. One experienced traveller said, "Many airlines make you buy add-ons online for seat preference and check luggage, but offer them free at the airport in person." Carly Nogwitsky also added a helpful tip. "Middle seats are the seats that fill up last on the flight. So if you're travelling in a pair, select window and aisle and have a good chance of having an empty seat, middle seat, if the flights are not full." One woman who claimed to be in love with a pilot said that they often make mistakes without telling anyone. She wrote, "Some pilots get distracted by their laptops and cell phones during flight. Pilots make mistakes all the time about their airspeed, altitude, landing, etc., but they're corrected on time and before. They never tell anyone about it." This is a very badly written article, but you get the gist essentially.
They're basically saying that aircraft kind of areas are not the cleanest areas.
Indeed. Mind you, you see, one of the things that always makes me very nervous, and I have to confess, certainly when I was working at the 2 public houses that I've been involved in, and it was my real bugbear, was ice machines.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
And I used to strip mine down, but then I perhaps had a skill that many people don't have in the fact that I was able to strip mine down and clean it properly. But the one thing I would always say to anyone that's drinking in a pub, stick to your ales and bottled beers and things like that, and stuff out the taps. Ironically, like your lagers and stuff are absolutely fine because you push very, very, very strong line cleaner and stuff through it. But the one place I'm amazed more people aren't poorly. I mean, it's the ice machine when I took over the Duke of York in Ditchingham was horrific, and it took me 2.5 days to strip it down, clean it, and make it usable. It's seriously.
Liz Piper said she's heard bad things about ice machines.
Absolutely.
I have to say the toilets. I mean, to be fair enough, the aircraft was only just 4 weeks old.
Right.
The aircraft we flew home on, the Dreamliner, the Dash 9 from Oman, that with the toilets in there were spotless.
Yeah,
there was not a grain of dust in there at all.
I think again though, a lot of that has to do. You see, it's like the same like in the restaurant trade. I've got this little quirk. It's like whenever I go to, I suppose this isn't really going to apply very well to aviation, but like if I'm going to go and have a meal, the first thing I do is go and see what the toilets are like. Well, no, because if the toilets are clean, then there's a strong possibility that the kitchen will also be clean.
One of my worst toilet experiences on an aircraft was unfortunately with Ryanair.
Oh,
yeah, that was not nice.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next story.
Yeah.
This story was actually sent to us by our main man, Micah. And this story is on the Tampa Bay Times website. And there's kind of, I don't know if you call it a headline or not, it just says that thousands of people flew Allegiant last year thinking their planes wouldn't fail in the air. They were wrong.
Oh.
So it starts off then, this writes the story itself. Lisa Cozzolino started to panic as Allegiant Air Flight 844 circled over Pinellas County. I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I haven't. Burning off fuel for an emergency landing. All the bad things I've done in my life, she said to her sister, and now I'm going to die. Matt Jones fumbled with his cell phone, trying to call his wife to say goodbye as crew members on an Allegiant Flight 822 ordered him to tuck into crash position over Baltimore. I said to myself, I'm never going to see my wife or my kids or my grandkids again, he recalled. Jessica Stoffel was afraid to be on Allegiant Flight 175 over Mesa. She grabbed the stranger next door to her and squeezed his hand. I was terrified and honestly didn't think we were going to make it, she said. All major airlines break down once in a while, but none of them break down in mid-air more often than Allegiant. A Tampa Bay Times investigation, which included a first-of-its-kind analysis of Federal Aviation records, has found that the budget carrier's aircraft are 4 times more likely to fail during flight as those operated by other major U.S. airlines. In 2015, Allegiant jets were forced to make unexpected landings at least 77 times for serious mechanical failures. Cozzolino's flight was interrupted by a leaky hydraulic system. Jones's flight was on a plane with 4 failing brakes. The engine on Stoffel's plane caught fire during an aborted landing, and the jet dipped suddenly to one side, its wing nearly touching the ground. None of the 77 incidents prompted enforcement action from the Federal Aviation Administration, which doesn't compare airline breakdown records to look for warning signs. To create such a comparison, the Times report has built a database of more than 65,000 records from the FAA. Working through the data, they connected a year's worth of flight records with documents showing mechanical problems at the 11th largest domestic carriers, or the 11 largest domestic carriers in the United States, including Allegiant. They interviewed 20 aviation experts, including former federal safety inspectors, aircraft engineers, and mechanics. They then travelled to Las Vegas and met with Allegiant executives for a series of interviews. The airline did not dispute the newspaper's findings, which included these findings. Wow. 42 of Allegiant's 86 aircraft broke down in mid-flight at least once in 2015. Among them were 15 forced to land by failing engines, 9 by overheating tail compartments, interesting, and 6 by smoke or the smell of something burning. After certain systems on Allegiant planes fail, the company repairs them and puts the planes back in service, only to see the same systems fail again. 18 times last year, key parts of engines and sensors and electronics failed once in a flight, and they got checked out and then failed again, causing another unexpected landing. Allegiant's jets are on average 22 years old. The average age of planes flown by other carriers is 12. Experts say that as old as Allegiant's require the most rigorous maintenance in industry, but Allegiant doesn't staff its own mechanics at the 107 of the 118 airports it flies to. Allegiant relies most heavily on McDonnell Douglas MD-80s, an aging model retired by all but 2 other major US carriers. The company's MD-80s fail twice as often as those operated by American Airlines, and 3 times as often as those operated and flown by Delta. Wow. Okay, that's rather worrying. It says here they've got a diagram here of an MD-80, and it says here what failed in flight, and it says that these parts and systems have forced Allegiant planes to land unexpectedly, the most between January 2015 and September 2016. So cockpit instruments 6 times, cabin pressure 9 times, engine 39 times, tail compartment, they're on APU isn't a tail, I think, on the MD-80.
Right.
26 times, and nose landing gear 7 times. Wow.
I mean, the landing gear doesn't surprise me so much because it is such a complicated sort of. It's all about hydraulics and things like that, isn't it? But yeah.
Poor old Allegiant, eh? They're not getting a very good thing there.
No,
but,
indeed. So yes, thanks to the main man for that story, obviously. On to the next story. This is on the BirminghamMail.co.uk.
No, this is bad news for anyone who wishes to go on holiday in a certain place in Europe.
I have to say, I'm not surprised.
No, nor am I.
In fact, I'm surprised it's taken this long.
Well, they'd done this before, didn't they? What they must, I think they lifted the ban or the stop.
Yeah, I don't know if they did. I think that's maybe what this is. I mean,
so what's the story then?
The story, as I say, Birmingham Mail is the headline, and is the website, and the headline is Monarch Airlines cancels Sharm el Sheikh flights due to ongoing terror threat. So passengers can obtain. Please leave the mouse alone.
Sorry.
He keeps moving the mouse and it keeps jumping. Passengers can obtain a full refund due to the ongoing terror threat in the Middle East, says the airline. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that Monarch especially has been quite hard hit by the lack of being able to fly to Sharm without too much trouble, isn't it? Because I know they used to do a lot of flights into and out of there, didn't they? But anyway, holidaymakers across Birmingham could be affected after news broke of Monarch Airlines cancelling all flights and bookings to Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. The move from the airline, which has a significant presence at Birmingham Airport, comes amid an ongoing terror threat in the Middle East. Monarch has confirmed the decision affects this year's winter breaks and the 2017 summer season. Customers who have existing flight and holiday bookings can rebook to an alternative Monarch destination free of charge, say the company. The airline will also give holidaymakers the chance to obtain a full refund. A Monarch spokesman said, with no indication from the government as to when the airport will reopen to flights from the UK, so obviously it is still very much not accepting flights. The airline is cancelling all flight and holiday bookings for winter 2016/2017, and there will now be no plans for the destination to be part of Monarch's summer 2017 programme. If Sharm el Sheikh is reopened to UK flights in the future, we will reassess flying there as a new route. The airport was closed after a Russian airliner, which had taken off from Sharm, was brought down by a bomb just 23 minutes into its journey to St. Petersburg in February. Monarch Group Chief Executive Andrew Swaffield said much hard work has been done by the UK and Egyptian governments along with the travel industry to improve safety measures at Sharm el Sheikh Airport, and it is very disappointing that it still remains closed. And if and when the airport does reopen, we will then assess whether we start flights and holidays again. Prior to the closure of the airport, roughly 700,000 Britons visited Sharm el Sheikh every year, making it a popular and important holiday destination for the UK travel industry. And now I've actually been to Sharm. I think I flew there with EasyJet actually, and I have to say, it was one of the nicest holidays I've ever had. And I mean, you were aware that there was a sort of a terror threat, sort of like, you know, just things like when every time a taxi went in and out of hotel complexes and things like that, there was a big mirror put underneath to make sure there was nothing underneath and that. So I don't know. I mean, it's
well, other airlines.
You
are
do
flying
wonder
in
if
there.
this has had something to do. You do wonder if this has had something to do with perhaps the trouble at Monarch, you know, where they've had to do some restructuring, I think is the correct term, isn't it? But,
No, I definitely think they're probably not the only
Yeah.
airline to not want to fly in there now, I'd imagine.
Well, as I say, and I think they're right, aren't they? They're going to reassess the situation if they do reopen flights from London to, or from the UK to Sharm, and then sort of look at it with regard to. Sure, I mean, was there much interest? That's the thing. I mean, did they have many bookings? That's the other question. I guess we'll never know that number, will we?
No, I'm just looking at departures at the moment on for
Yeah.
Sharm, and you've got Egypt Air, Aegean Airlines, and departures and arrivals. Egypt Air. There's nothing sort of from the UK as such. In and out
Well,
of
no,
at the
because
moment.
the route is closed.
Mm.
That's why.
Yeah, but I mean, there are other airlines from the UK still flying to Sharm.
Is there?
So, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there
Okay,
is.
well, that's that theory out of the window then.
So moving on to the
Indeed.
next story, and this is kind of sort of follows on from a story we had. I can't remember this was last week or the week before, Matt. It's on the traveller.com.au site again, and the headline: World's shortest international flight. European airline People's Vienna Line offers an 8-minute flight. Because we had the shortest flight in the UK, didn't we? Which was like 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Over to an island, wasn't it? Yeah.
So an Austrian airline has begun what it claims is the world's shortest regular international connection, an 8-minute hop across Lake Constance. The flight offered by People's Vienna Line connects St. Gallen, Alterheim in Switzerland. Have I pronounced that right? I don't know. With Friedrichshafen in southern Germany. It's part of a route that continues onward to Cologne, but passengers can book only the short part for €40 or $57.
That seems like a lot of money for an 8-minute flight.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
The Embraer 145 short-haul jet will connect the Friedrichshafen airport with Swiss airport in Altenheim. The flight time for the around 20-kilometre long route between the two regional airports is around 8 minutes. German news agency DPA reported the environmentalists aren't thrilled by the new route, which began service on Wednesday.
Oh.
Swiss Green Party politician Meinrad Gschwend says he wants the flights to be banned. The airline says driving around the lake for an hour would produce as much emissions as a short flight. On Tuesday, Emirates announced it will operate the shortest Airbus A380 flight around the world, or route in the world, flying from Doha to Dubai from December this year. With a distance of only 379 kilometres, a one-way flight will last for less than an hour, and the plane could make almost 20 return flights without refuelling. Emirates also operates one of the longest routes in the world, with an A380 flying between Dubai and Auckland. The title of the world's longest flight was recently snatched by an Air India for its revised Delhi to San Francisco route. Flight AI-173 now covers a distance of 15,140 kilometres in 14 hours and 30 minutes, claiming the title from Emirates. Emirates Dubai-Auckland route is around 14,120 kilometres and takes 16.5 hours. So there we go, an 8-minute flight on an Embraer.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's right. You know, if you've got, I say 50 people driving a car around around a lake to get from one side to the other, I don't know what will produce more fumes really, because the Embraers are quite a fuel efficient and a clean-ish aircraft. I think the new one of the latest sort of regional jets.
I get so confused with all this carbon footprint nonsense. I just sort of It's like, I mean, I had a special exhaust system fitted to my new coach, and it went from being like the fastest thing I've ever had been sort of like driving to really sluggish, and all because of this weird filter thing that magically takes all the reduces our carbon footprint. I don't know. It's all a bit strange.
I know. Stick some cotton wool in the exhaust.
Just while I'm sort of looking, we've got. I just so that everybody knows, obviously, because this does actually apply to those who listen to the podcast as well as a download. We are aware that occasionally we're getting a bit of a whine. A high-pitched whine in the background. We are aware of it. And,
have we got one now?
I think it's okay at the moment. I'm just really sort of apologising, really officially, because we have had a bit of a problem.
Yeah, we did have last week, didn't we?
Last couple of
yeah.
shows. As I say,
this week we seem okay.
Yeah, we do listen back to the show, which is why, for some reason, it's only been happening in the audio podcast and not necessarily on the one that goes onto YouTube. So we are aware of it, and I am trying to get to the bottom of it. And the tower is on yet another rebuild. Trying to put the fault right, but myself and the legend that is Nev are busy trying to work out where it's coming from. But
now this next story, Matt,
yes,
for you is quite interesting. It's got quite a bit of info on here on the headline that says,
"Oh, this is cheery, isn't it? This is go banking rates." I've lost interest because it said banking. I won't lie to you. It's like why am I going to believe a website that's talking about banking, seeing as they're the most corrupt? No, sorry, I'm probably opening a
different podcast.
Yeah, sorry, I'm opening up a can of legal worms there, aren't I? So we'll glaze over that and move on. Anyway, the headline on this Go Banking Rates website, that's gobankingrates.com, personal finance is the heading, so I'm a little skeptical. It says how airlines rip you off during holiday season. With the holiday season fast approaching, air travel is ramping up. If you are planning to fly, you'll need to watch out for extra charges, from carry-on baggage fees to high food and drinks costs. A 2016 report from research firm Ideal Works Company found that extra charges known as ancillary revenue increased among the 10 largest airline carriers from $8.4 billion in 2008 to almost $26 billion in 2015. And here's a look at some of the more notorious airlines for fees that you need to watch out for. And this one's all about the carry-on baggage, and it says carry-on baggage, which is number one. It says even though most airlines do not charge passengers for carry-on bags, some budget airlines will. According to Fair Compare, Spirit Airlines charges for carry-on bags placed in overhead bins at 20. Whoa, hang on. According to Fair Compare, Spirit Airlines charges for carry-on bags placed in overhead bins anything between $20 and $100 per bag. The fee can be considerably add considerably to the cost of your. That's outrageous. That is genuinely outrageous. Spirit Air. Oh, there is that the Australian one, Spirit Air?
I can't remember. Okay. My mind's gone.
All right.
I was doing all those exams today. That's what I've done it.
Indeed. And you're moving the message.
Sorry.
Stop it. Honestly, such a nightmare. Number two is paying with a credit card. Some airlines charge a fee when you pay with a credit card. The European carrier Ryanair, for instance, charges an extra 2% of your total transaction when you use a credit card, PayPal account, American Express, or prepaid MasterCard. This fee does not apply when you use a debit card, which I have to confess,
they're an American ultra low cost.
They're an American ultra low cost.
Spirit. I should have known that, really.
Oh well, there we are. Indeed, yes, but I must admit, whenever I'm using Ryanair as an example because it's the only one
debit card. Debit cards.
Yeah, they don't charge you for using a debit card.
It's only when you use your credit card you get that
that's
charge.
Right. Yeah. Number three is boarding pass reissue. Now, this is a common one, especially with the low-cost airlines, is that while mobile apps have done away with the need for printed boarding passes, some airlines still require one. And some airlines, mainly the low-budget ones, will impose an additional charge if you've left home without remembering to print out your boarding pass, although I use the Ryanair app in order to sort of get around that. So, although, as I say, I think I've forgotten, where is it? Is it I think it was Menorca. Is it Menorca? Where was I? Where was I on holiday? Can't remember. Thanks.
You have so many. Judith Chalmers.
Hello, Pop. This is Kettle. You're black. Yes, this. I think it was at Menorca Airport, and they didn't actually have the facilities to be able to take the card reader. You're putting me off because you're doing something. What are you doing on there? You're taking a photo, right? Okay. The card readers and stuff, they weren't geared up for apps. So if you didn't have your paper boarding pass, then you were a bit stuffed. But we managed to get the hotel very kindly printed the pass off for us, so we managed to get around that. Because I'd sort of foolishly thought, oh well, it'll be okay. I can just do the app because I have both mine and Mum's boarding pass.
They need to invent a plug-in printer for mobile phones.
You can have a Wi-Fi
little mini one,
No,
little tiny mini one.
Yeah, but where would you put the? I mean, what size paper would it be?
It'll be like a receipt you get from a shop.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Good.
I'll tell you, if anyone's going to think of that idea, I thought of it first. My patent, whatever it is.
Yes, moving on. In-flight Wi-Fi is number 4. Many airlines offer in-flight Wi-Fi access at a cost. American Airlines charges up to $19 depending on the length of your flight. If you just want access to mobile messaging apps like Facebook Messenger, Delta Airlines offers a $2 mobile Wi-Fi pass. So that's quite cool. Number 5 is assigned seating. If you buy a low-cost ticket and are travelling with other family members or friends, you'll either have to sit apart or pay extra for assigned seating. Delta offers basic economy tickets, which cost less, but don't allow you to pick your own seat. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really struggling to read out loud today.
Really?
Fine. So just bear with me. Number 6 is priority boarding. Priority boarding. That infamous swear word. Some airlines impose a charge on coach passengers for a priority boarding. United Airlines offers economy passengers a Premier Access Pass starting at just $15 for priority boarding. And number 7 is name correction. Make sure your name is spelled correctly on your ticket, or you might need to fork out some extra cash. Although many airlines don't allow for name changes or corrections, those that do can impose a hefty fee. A 2015 report from Shorts Travel Management found Alaska Airlines charges $75 for a name change, while American charges $100 to change your name. So yeah, make sure you get your name and address correct when you're doing your booking. Checked baggage is number 8. Baggage fees are a huge source of ancillary revenue. Airline policies regarding baggage fees can change at any time, so it's always wise to check with your carrier before booking your flight. With most domestic flights, you'll pay for checked baggage with fees costing around $20 or more for the first checked bag. However, airlines like JetBlue and Southwest don't charge for your first checked bag. Oh, that's quite cool. Number 9 is overweight baggage. Now you get round this with a set of
my
portable
digital
scales.
scales.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I never go on holiday without my digital scales.
Absolutely. So overweight baggage, another huge source of ancillary revenue, is for airlines is charging the charges they impose on customers for excess baggage. On international flights, the first checked bag will usually be included in the flight cost, as long as it's below a certain dimensions and weight specified by the carrier. Additional checked bags or bags that are heavier or larger than those allowed by the carrier will be subject to significant fees. Date change fees. Date changes are among the costliest fees
I love dates.
charge. Yeah, not those kind of dates.
Okay.
Delta charges $200 for changes made on your flight within the US, Canada, Puerto Rico, and the US Virgin Islands. So when you're planning your vacation, book it at the right time. Airline branded credit cards.
No, Sydney. BA have got their own one. Nev's probably got one, actually.
Oh, stop it. Sorry, so it's airline-branded credit cards. Although an airline-branded credit card allows you to earn miles towards future travel, you might not want to limit your options. The Advantage,
American Airlines.
Yes, anyway, Advantage Platinum Select World MasterCard, for example, awards 30,000 bonus miles if you make a $1,000 transaction in purchases. $1,000 worth of purchases in the first 3 months after opening your account. Every dollar spent on American telecommunications, car rentals and gas earns you 2 miles. It might sound like a good offer, but compare it to the Barclaycard Arrival Plus World Elite MasterCard, which offers you 40,000 bonus miles after you spend $3,000 in your first 3 months. Every purchase you make earns you 2 miles, and you can apply your miles towards any travel purchase, which is quite cool. Number 12 is travel insurance. Travel insurance can safeguard you against unexpected delays and cancellations, rental car damage and more, but you don't necessarily have to pay for travel insurance through the airline you're flying with. Use resources like squaremouth.com to compare travel insurance costs from different companies so you don't overpay for the expense. Food and drink, if you want more than just peanuts, you'll need to pay up. Although JetBlue offers some free snacks, you'll need to fork over up to $12 for a sandwich and sliced fruit. Alcoholic beverages will cost you between $6 and $9. Duty-free shopping, you might have the chance to buy duty-free merchandise, but be aware, because duty-free might not necessarily mean that you're saving money compared to pricing at retail stores back home. Before you travel, look up pricing for goods you're interested in buying duty-free. That way you'll know that you are getting a good deal on your trip. And actually, quite often with like alcohol and things, it's actually quite often been cheaper to go and buy it in Morrison's than it has been to actually buy it duty free, although they do tend to do the export strength stuff, which you can't get obviously. And this one's for Nev. Number 15 is airport lounges. For the budget traveller, airport lounges are likely not worth the extra cost. Independent lounges offer one-off passes from around $15 to $50 per day, or $10 per hour, according to FlightFox.com, a marketplace for travel experts. Number 6 is extra legroom. Is extra legroom worth the cost? That's for you to decide, but for the luxury, it will weigh down you'll certainly weigh down your travel budget. American offers main cabin extra seating, which offers up to 6 inches of additional legroom, plus Group 1 boarding starting at $20. And finally, 17 is headphones. Some airlines' headphone jacks are smaller than the standard size, so if you want to watch TV on board, then you might need to pay extra for a pair of headphones. I seem to remember back in the Air 2000 days, you had to buy the headphones because it was the two-prong one. Yeah.
I know that when we flew BA last month, that I used my headphones in the entertainment system with BA. They fitted and worked fine.
Really?
Normal standard headphone jack.
Okay. Oh,
we have had a bit of a disaster in the chat room while Matt was reading that story. Nick Anderson has unfortunately dropped pizza down his flight bag, which is going to be a problem for when the sniffer dogs are out in JFK. So Captain Nick has got a slight issue with pizza.
Indeed. That is disastrous. That is disastrous. Yeah.
But no, it was interesting.
Do they like jalapenos?
Jalapenos,
dogs, yeah, absolutely.
So we hope that information has helped. I think most people know what to and what to look out for when they're.
Yeah.
I mean, all our listeners do. They know everything like that anyway.
They do.
So next story on Flight Global's website, and this is a picture story. Matt will put these up during the story.
Oh, will
he? He will. And the headline: Boeing rolls out, and that's Boeing. Rolls out United Airlines' first 777-300ER. So United Airlines' first Boeing 777-300ER has rolled out of the paint shop in Everett, Washington, nearly 22 years after the carrier took delivery of its first 777. The Chicago-based carrier is scheduled to take delivery of the aircraft, registration November 58031 and MSN 62642, from Boeing in late December this year, with entry into service slated for February 2017. United plans to base the stretch 777 at its Newark Liberty International Airport hub, and will initially use the type on domestic flights before shifting it to international routes in the second quarter of 2017. The airline will debut its new Polaris business class seat on the 777-300ER, and the aircraft will have 60 of the premium seats in the new all-aisle access configuration. United has firm orders for 14 777-300ERs, which complement its fleet of 74 777-200s. And the carrier took delivery of the first 777-200 in May 1995. God, this doesn't seem that long ago since the 777's come out, but it is that long ago. They just seem like really still a new aircraft to me. But there we go. There's another picture there, Matt. I'll put on the screen of that aircraft there.
So so what's this? Is the
777-300? Yeah, ER. Yeah.
Right. And what does ER? Extended range.
Extended range.
Right. Okay. See, I'm learning. Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's got a bit more range in it, a bit more go in it, a bit more go in the tank. So yeah,
a bit more fuel. Go a bit further.
So next story for you, Matt, and this is one I found this week, and this is something that I would seriously like to try myself.
Okay, so this is the Rutland and Stamford.
Actually,
Mercury.
Myla will like this story.
Oh, will she?
Because
okay.
Myla's going to be doing some of this, so Myla's going to like this story.
Well, there we are. So, pilots to fly Boeing 737-800 simulator for 7 days and nights to raise cash for MagPass Air Ambulance. Oh, that's very cool. Pilots will complete a grueling 7 day and night sponsored flight around the world in a Boeing 737-800 simulator. A team from Jet Sim School, based at Sibson Airfield, will be raising funds for emergency medical charity MagPass Air Ambulance. The annual World Flight event, now in its 17th year, sees teams of simulator pilots from across the globe covering 37,153 miles, flying actual airline routes and with real-time air traffic control provided by vatsim.net. They will fly in real-world weather conditions. Team JetSim will be flying in JetSim School's Boeing 737-800 simulator, and the flight will be live streamed on Twitch. That's twitch.tv. / now I can't read that out because it's got a weird symbol that doesn't really make a lot of sense, so my advice would be to Google it. So anyone can watch and interact with the pilots, ask questions or comment on the route. Alternatively, guests are welcome to see firsthand the team in action at the Jet Sim School at Sibson Airfield from 11 p.m. on the 5th of November.
That's tomorrow.
Until 9 a.m. on the 12th of November. And as team member and founder of Jet Sim School, Jonathan Lockton explains, money raised during the flight will go towards helping a very worthy local cause. He said, our target is to raise £3,000 for MagPass Air Ambulance, which provides crucial life-saving care by land and air to patients in life-threatening emergencies. Some of the UK's leading doctors and paramedics volunteer their own time to work with MagPass, supporting the ambulance service by providing advanced medical care when time is of the essence. In 2015, 1 in 4 call-outs were to people in cardiac arrest, and the most frequent call-outs was to attend a road traffic collision. The MagPass medical team received enhanced training, which allows them to offer procedures and treatments at the scene, like general anaesthetic, which are usually only available in hospital. This means that the frontline care they deliver doesn't just save lives, it helps seriously ill and injured people return to a good quality of life. MagPass isn't a state-funded service and relies on generous public donations to continue saving lives. It costs over £3 million to operate the service in 2015 alone. Anyone wishing to help JetSim raise money for MagPass can visit the Just Giving page at www.justgiving.com/fundraising/JetSim I presume that's again /flight 2016, or alternatively text JSIM73 followed by the amount you would like to donate to 70070. That will only work obviously for people here in the UK, but what a great idea. And of course our own air ambulance has the same thing, isn't it? It doesn't receive any funding whatsoever. The East Anglian Air Ambulance
we should organise one of these for the East Anglian Air Ambulance.
Where would you do it round here?
I don't know.
Is there a simulator here?
There is not a simulator near us. I think probably our closest simulator, Captain Nick might know this better than me, but as far as I know, our closest simulator for us to use here would probably be Luton, I think, has got one.
Right.
Luton
Okay. Well,
Airport.
Luton wouldn't be too
I'm
bad.
not sure if Stansted have got one as well.
Sounds like a great idea. Well, and good luck to them, and hopefully they'll raise lots of money for MagPass.
Yeah. That is. Oh, I'd love to. Me and Myla are both going to put our names down for this, I think.
I'm almost terrified to ask what they are talking about in the chat room here, because I've just seen Captain Nick's statement of sometimes a headwind is better than a tailwind, smells better. I'm almost terrified to ask what they're talking
especially
about.
where Al's concerned.
Oh.
So next story,
He's
moving on.
He's not in there
He's
as
not
well,
in
is
there.
he?
We can all rip Al. He's not here. Next story on the dailypost.co.uk.
Okay.
And this is another really interesting story. This is the headline: Airbus giant Beluga XL assembly set to start as first section arrives.
Ooh, very cool.
The extra large aircraft will carry wings from Broughton to other Airbus sites. And the first section of the new Airbus.
I'm sorry.
Beluga.
I'm going to interrupt you and say Never's just put in the chat room, is the kitchen studio still out of commission after Captain Al's visit?
It's had a repaint.
Very much so, yes. Absolutely.
So the first section of the giant new Airbus Beluga XL has arrived with final assembly to start in a month. The new extra-large aircraft is on target to enter service in 2019, gradually replacing the current iconic Beluga aircraft. It is to be built and based on the A330 final assembly line, adjacent to Toulouse-Blagnac Airport in southwestern France, with the first section delivered this week. Once a lower fuselage for Beluga XL is completed on the final assembly line, it will be moved to building L34 at Airbus Lagardère Industrial Zone, adjacent to Toulouse-Blagnac Airport, where the build-up process into the outsized airlifter will take approximately 12 months per aircraft. Wow. The 5 Beluga XL aircraft will provide an additional 30% in transport capacity for Airbus Industrial Network, joining the existing fleet of 5 A300-600 ST Super Transports. Airbus tweeted out an image of the first section arriving this week, adding the first section of the Beluga XL has arrived in Toulouse. And final assembly to start in a month, they said in their tweet. The Airbus Beluga fleet had 5,000 total flight hours in 2012, and that number is projected to be 10,000 in 2017. Hervé Demonet, who is leading the team preparing the Beluga XL for entry into service, noted that the Belugas, both the ST and the XL, will play a major role in future production ramp-ups. Both versions will operate in parallel for a while, but will begin phasing out the ST by the end of 2020, he said. Thanks to the XL's larger volume, we can transport the same capacity with 30% less flight hours. So if Matt can pop this on the screen, you can see a little photo or a little screenshot there of the XL Beluga. It's got a headache.
Yeah, indeed. York Muller has just said the Beluga should be fun to watch. I live under the glide slope to, I want to say, Finkenwerder Hamburg Airbus facility. How was that for pronunciations?
That's
close,
good.
I
That's
hope.
good.
And see the Beluga every single day. How cool is that?
That's it. I mean, to me, it looks like an A330's got one heck of a headache. That's what I. Yeah, because if we put that picture on the screen, Matt, that's
Gosh,
the
me with you.
the first part of the Airbus XL arriving in Toulouse there.
Yeah.
So yeah, wow. It'll be interesting to see when this one finally gets put together and finished. I'm sure Captain Nick will love this as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah. So the last story, Matt, and I just had to put this one in here for you because, well, you'll just enjoy just saying the headline.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, the final story in the commercial section is on the flyingmag.com website, and the headline is Bombardier preps for global...
What is it?
Preps for... Stop it, I'm trying to be a grown-up. For Global 7000's first flight. So that's Bombardier, or as I like to say, Bombardier! Thank you. Bombardier is busy making preparations for the first flight of its Global 7000 Ultra long-range business jet, which is expected to be completed by year's end. The manufacturer is wrapping up ground taxi tests on a completed test airplane at its factory complex in Toronto, where initial flight tests will be made. The engines and APU have been powered up, and functional and safety of flight tests have also been made. 3 more test aircraft are currently in production. The first delivery of the $72.8 million Global 7000, which has hit some delays since it was unveiled in 2010, is scheduled for the second half of 2018. Despite delays, Bombardier says that customer interest has remained strong for the Global 7000, which features 4 distinct cabin zones and seats up to 12 passengers. The Global 7000 features a full fly-by-wire control system and is powered by GE Passport engines. It has a range of 7,400 nautical miles.
Wow, I'm just looking at the stats and figures in this. There is a Global 8000 actually as well that seats 13 passengers with 4 crew. So slightly less people on there, but those General Electric Passport engines pumping out 16,500 pounds of thrust each, propelling the aircraft along at a typical cruise speed of Mach 0.85, which is 902 kilometres per hour. Man.
Splendid, well done.
And it has a maximum operating altitude of 51,000 feet, which is rather high. But no, that's possibly an aircraft that Pip may well fly one day, because they're the type of aircraft that Pip flies.
Yes, that's sort
those
of thing.
Posh executive
fancy
ones.
Good evening,
yeah.
Dr. Steph, by the way.
Dr. Steph's in the chat room.
Indeed, absolutely.
Blimey.
So that is where we bring the commercial aviation section to a close. What do you want to do next, Carlos?
Oh, I don't know. Shall we? I mean, we could do some listener feedback.
Should we do some listener feedback?
We'll do
Let's
some
do that.
listener
Yeah,
feedback.
okay. All right then. So if you're ready then. So who are we listening to today?
So we have had some audio listener feedback sent in then this week from our very good friend Shud Bakker, who's in the chat room now.
Hello, Carlos and Matt. This is Short from the Netherlands, and this is my vote for the best livery. And I thought I'd combine it with a bit of audio feedback because of your desire to hear our voices. My vote goes to the KLM, and that's no surprise, I guess. But why? When I was a kid, KLM did a lot of advertising, and the words like adventure and faraway places, they were heavily associated with KLM Blue for me. I think that's still a bit of sentiment that's inside me, and that's why I choose KLM. And also they have a new livery. They have a nice curve where the white meets the blue, and I think that's quite fancy. At first I didn't know what to think of it, but yeah, I like it. So that's why it's the KLM, and bye for now.
So a massive thank you to Shud Bakker for sending in that piece of audio feedback. That ties in well with
what we're going to do
our next part of the show, which is, you'll be pleased to know, after all this time, is our results of the listener favourite livery feedback. Well, not a competition. It's a just a listener poll. Yeah, listener poll that we've done. So we had quite a few emails and tweets and Facebook messages and stuff come in from everyone regarding this the livery poll, and we put all those results in and compiled our top 10 P2UK livery. So we're going to let you know what those are first, and then we've got just a few messages that came with the emails from various people of this. So in at
number 10.
At number 10, this is old school. This is BOAC, British Overseas Air Corporation.
Now, I think there's one of these at Duxford, isn't there?
There is actually one
Yeah,
of these.
because myself and
Duxford,
Barbara
yeah.
saw it a few weeks back now. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, there is, and I think you can actually go on board this aircraft. I think at Duxford. Every now and again.
I think it's only open the weekends and stuff because we'd gone during the week, and so we weren't able to.
So the British Overseas Airways Corporation were the first British state-owned airline created in 1940 with a merger by a merger with Imperial Airways and British Airways Limited, and they continued operating overseas services throughout World War II. And they ceased operations in March the 31st, 1974.
Wonderful.
So in at
number 9.
Number 9, it is Frontier Airlines, and the livery these aircraft have are kind of mixed.
I love the tail fins; they're incredible. I'd never really sort of seen these before when we were just sort of popping these, looking these pictures up before we started the show.
Frontier, their hubs at Denver International Airport.
Wow.
Their call sign is Frontier Flight. They were founded in 1994, and they've got their tail livery has normally they have different animals on the tail. This one has got an owl, which is quite nice.
Tawny owl, I think, if my memory serves. I'll probably be corrected by someone, but yeah.
So in
number 8. Is it number 8? Yeah.
It is number 8. Yeah, number 8, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was foolishly talking. I couldn't work out what was going on. So there you go. Yeah,
so number 8 is one of the airlines that I flew on as a child, and very fond memories of Dan Air London. Dan Air. There we go. There's a BAC 111. I think this one's actually got the hush kits fitted on this on the JT8Ds.
What on earth is a hush kit?
It's something they put on the back of an engine to quieten it down.
People. Okay, well that kind of makes sense then. Yes.
So founded in 1953. Ceased operations in 1992. They merged into British Airways.
Okay.
They had hubs at London Gatwick, Manchester Airport, and Berlin Tegel Airport as well. They had 36 aircraft in their fleet, and they flew worldwide. And they had a tagline as such, that was "We're going places."
There's one of those at Duxford as well.
Dan Air, yes.
And in fact, wasn't there a little one at the Norwich Aviation Museum, a little Dan Air?
I think.
Because
it wasn't. It was that was Air UK. That one, I think.
Oh, was
Norwich
it?
Airport,
Okay,
yeah.
my apologies. Okay.
But no, a lovely airline. Flew on that many. I could still remember that as a child. Definitely remember the BAC 111. So at
number 7.
Number 7 is Knock Air.
Now this is so cool.
And their
look at the colours on that.
Their livery is. I'm trying to think whether I think it's a duck. Is it a duck?
I don't know. It's very cool.
I don't know. Hubs at Don Muang International Airport and Changi May International Airport. Their subsidiaries Knock Scoot. They've got a fleet size of 32. And they're based in Bangkok, Thailand. That's Knock Air, N-O-K.
Knock Air.
Knock.
Yes,
and quite a striking livery, Matt.
It is, yes, very purple and blue and
very purpley.
Yeah, and there's a duck bill on the there's like the beak of a duck something. We're saying duck. We're not sure if it's a duck, but yeah, it's a very sort of standout livery, isn't it?
Mm.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right, what's next?
I think that's number 6.
Number 6, then.
It is number 6, is it?
Yeah, number 6.
Okay.
Number 6, it's British Airways, but it's the British Airways and Neville like this. It's the British Airways with the Landor livery. That was a company I think based in London who designed the livery for this for the aircraft, and it was the Landor.
They're just saying in the chat room actually, it was with the previous picture, it was an airplane pretending to be a cartoon figure.
Oh, okay. BA, British Airways, then founded in March 1974. Hubs at Gatwick and Heathrow. Fleet size 293 aircraft, and their company slogan, BA, was "To fly, to serve."
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
As you wish. Yes.
So who's up next?
Number 5.
And number 5 is Fiji Airlines, and Matt chose that picture there. Nice little shot.
I just love the tail. It looks lovely.
The tail there.
Yeah,
it looks very nice.
Yeah.
Fiji Airlines, founded in 1947.
Wow.
Commenced operations in 1951. Fleet size of 9 aircraft, destination 17. Headquartered at Nadi International Airport in Fiji.
Fiji.
Indeed.
Yes.
So next up,
Okay, this is in at number 4.
number 4, it is Aer Lingus, this one at number 4. And Aer Lingus, founded in April 1936. And everyone knows the logo there with the shamrock on the
Indeed,
tail.
yeah, absolutely.
Hence the call sign. Their call sign is Shamrock.
Really?
Yeah, when the ATC call them up, they call them up as Shamrock. Yeah,
Fair enough.
based in Belfast City, Cork, and Shannon, with hubs in Dublin. Fleet size 47 aircraft with 89 destinations.
Ooh, and in at number 3.
At number 3, one of my definite
Now, I love
top
this.
5s.
In fact, actually, while you're telling us a little bit about this particular airline, I'm going to try and no, I can't. I was going to try and zoom the picture in, but this is absolutely incredible.
For those of you in the
Yeah.
YouTube chat room, I mean, you're bound to have seen this picture before,
Yeah.
or a picture of the Kalula Airlines. But Kalula Airlines, founded in 2001. They've got their hubs at Tambo International Airport and Lanseria International Airport, South Africa. This one is fleet size of 10, destinations of 6. They've got focus cities Cape Town and King Shaka International Airport. But one of the more interesting liveries for those of you guys who are listening to the audio podcast, not the YouTube live show with us at the moment, get yourselves over to Google and just have a look at Kalula. If you go on, have a look at their aircraft.
I just love it.
Just
It's
to
like
give you a rough
sunroof, co-captain, nose cone, radar antenna, and really big dish inside.
I just love the way it says because we're facing on the
Yeah.
co-pilot side. We're looking at the co-pilot side of this aircraft, and the arrow's pointing up, saying co-captain, the other pilot on the PA system, and then it's got an arrow pointing to the first exit and entry door, and it just says our door is always open unless we're at 41,000 feet, which is quite funny. I like that one.
Shall I get your phone for you?
Yes,
shall
please.
I?
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. It's what went for a Burton.
Went for a Burton there. So yeah, Kalula. Yeah, 2001. So quite a relatively new airline, Kalula.
Indeed, yes. And
So who is at number 2, Matt?
number 2?
Number 2 is Britannia Airway, or Britannia. Hold on, I'm just bringing my screen up
bringing it
here.
up, yes.
Bringing up my
Okay.
screen here. Britannia
Defunct,
Airways.
aren't they now? Aren't they?
Yeah. It's being incredibly
Is
slow.
it being very slow? Okay, yes, absolutely.
There we go, Britannia Airways.
Not really a lot I can tell you about this. It's a
No.
very pretty plane. I
I've had-
recognise the Britannia logo.
Yeah, I've flown on Britannia many times as a child. Founded in 1961 in December, and ceased operations. Wow, really? 2005. In November 2005, Britannia ceased operations. They were rebranded as Thomson Fly, operating from Birmingham International Airport and Gatwick Airport, Glasgow Airport, Luton Airport, Manchester Airport, and Newcastle Airport, and the fleet size of 47 with 42 destinations. And actually, I was saying to Matt before we started the show that Thomson Fly still use some of Britannia's old fleet or old aircraft.
Call signs.
The old aircraft, most of the 757-200s, and the way to tell these is they've got the registrations. Have normally got the Golf at the beginning, and they've got a BY in the registration. If you look for the BY on the 75, you'll know that was an ex-Britannia 757-200.
Well, there we are.
So there we go. So
what's a bit of a surprise for me is number 1.
So at number 1, it's for all our European listeners really. The number 1 spot has been taken by KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines.
Basically, in our listener poll, this was voted for as most favourite livery.
I know. I know. They've had a few different changes in it. They've had sort of various iterations over the years.
Yeah.
But KLM were founded in October 1919. And their hubs at Amsterdam Schiphol Airport.
Yeah.
They've got a frequent flyer program called Flying Blue. And they're part of the Sky Team Alliance. Subsidiaries of KLM, City Hopper, Martinair and Transavia. Fleet size 119 aircraft with 138 destinations. Their parent company is Air France KLM. Their headquarters in the Netherlands, and they employ well over 32,000 staff. So there we go. So we've had quite, like I said, we had quite a few different emails back from all the listeners and stuff with what they loved and stuff with the liveries, the favourite liveries and stuff. I'm just going through here so I can try and find some to read out. Barbara Parish loved the Aer Lingus livery. That's one of her definite favourites there. And she also loved the Peach Air. Peach Air, not to be confused with I get my words out right here. Not to be confused. I think it was a Chinese or a Japanese airline, Peach Air. There was a Peach Air based in the UK that had a peach as a logo. We had a good email from Myla, who gave us her kind of, in no particular order of what she liked, of liveries and stuff. And one of hers was Iceland Air, which had one of their 757s painted in a quite awesome livery as well. David Corsten sent us an email in as well, and he was one of the guys who picked Nok Air, the budget airline based in Thailand.
I think that was my favourite, actually, Nok Air, from a colour scheme point
with
of
the
view.
with the beak,
beak
on the front,
although which was the one with the quirky I've forgotten which one it was again.
Kalula.
Yeah, Kalula.
Yeah.
I mean that one I like for the quirky, but I think I have to go.
Tony Stubbings.
Yeah.
His favourite was the BOAC livery, the old school with the BC10. That was one of his favourite. Jenny Parkinson liked the Peach Airlines one as well.
Yeah.
Matty Fab, he chose Britannia. He sent us in a picture of one of Britannia Airways, the 757-200s. There, he sent us in a picture there, so that was quite nice to see that, because that reminds me of when I flew on them. We had Stu Black, and he liked the Kalula. Yeah, he liked the Kalula.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, that one's very cool.
Sandra Fogarty also sent one in, and she liked the Aer Lingus livery as well. Liked the vibrant green colours of the Aer Lingus. Neville Bounds, obviously Neville.
Let me guess, British Airways,
Mr. BA himself, but he prefers he liked the Landor livery, the old school livery. Yeah. And like I said, Barbara, like I said, she sent us in a lovely email about her love of Aer Lingus. Like I said, with the beautiful green tones that shimmers like a sparkling emerald in a bright sunny sky.
What I say? So, as I say, we had loads and loads of emails, so thank you very much to everyone who sent it. That's just a summary of just some of the emails that we've received whilst doing this poll. Thank you very much.
So we're going to have to think of a new one.
We are. We're going to have another target. Yeah,
we're going to have another.
Absolutely.
Just to let you guys know as well, just a bit of information for you. We have got coming up in December, which it's rapidly approaching now, rate of knots.
Less than a month away now.
Yeah, we have got. We're going to do a competition for Christmas again this year to win some bits and pieces that we've got here. One of them is related to the film that comes out in the UK on the 2nd of December. The Sully film, which I still haven't seen yet, which probably most of our people in the chat room have probably seen the film Sully. So,
but Mr. Tricker has suggested another poll along the lines of favourite military jet livery. I'm not sure how well that's going to... They're all grey, aren't they?
I like the grey. I like the grey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a big lover of grey.
Anyway,
or top 10 museums. That's a good idea, Tony. That's some good ideas.
Yeah.
Some good ideas.
I like that one. Yeah, keep them coming in.
Favourite call sign.
Ooh.
Speedbird. Aer Lingus would be Shamrock.
Okay.
Ryanair's a bit boring. Ryanair.
Okay.
They don't have
to the point, you know.
Acme.
Yes.
Acme. That'd be.
So sorry. What have we got?
Anyway.
What have we got coming up on for our for our Christmas poll, our Christmas competition?
Oh well. Anyway, the Christmas competition. The prizes.
Before I rudely interrupted you.
We've still got some prizes to be said yet, but we have got a couple of copies of the latest book, Sully. which has just come out to give away in the competition. And that the Sully book is it's a nice book, paperback book with some pictures and the kind of the story about everything, which some of you may have read, some of you may not have read, but that has just actually come out in the UK here. It was previously released, I think, under a different title, but it's a special book that's been made to go with the film.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And we've got some other prizes as well for the Christmas. But it's going to be a caption competition this year. So we have a photograph we're going to put on. And but we're not going to talk about it now. We're going to give you the details on that nearer the time at Christmas to get you the names and stuff in for the show that we do before we break for Christmas. So,
Indeed, yes, absolutely.
But we have got some military news to do now.
We have, yes.
So if you're ready, Matt.
Yes, I am.
Let's go. Just laughing in the chat room there. Just Jen loves caption competitions. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Jen.
You wait till you see the picture.
Yeah, the picture's awesome. So our first piece of military news this week is on the pilot web.
Least favourite airport. That's a good one. I like that one.
Dangerous one.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Dr. Steph. Definitely. Yeah.
This one is on the pilot web. You know what we could have? Favourite pilot competition.
Favourite pilot competition? Yeah. Well, there is no competition. It's Pilot Pip, surely.
No, it's Captain Nick.
Is it?
What?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's very fair because Jeff will just win. There's no.
Okay. All right. So this one is on the pilotweb.aero website, and good bit of news. This one. The headline: Restored Vulcan bomber unveiled at Avro Heritage Museum.
Wow, that's a different colour.
Yeah, Avro Vulcan XM or X-Ray Mike 603 has been restored thanks to a £50,000 donation by businessman Leon Howard, who flew in the aircraft as a teenager more than 50 years ago. The Delta Wing bomber, which formed part of the UK's nuclear deterrent, sits outside the Avro Heritage Museum in Poynton, Stockport, on the site of the Woodford factory where the Vulcans were built. After decades on as a static display, aircraft XM603 now looks the same as it did when it rolled off the line more than half a century ago. With no engines, but it's unable to fly, but it's been hailed as the finest example of a refurbished Vulcan in the UK, if not the world. Vulcans were in service from 1956 to 1984 and carried nuclear weapons. XM603 last saw action in the Falklands War when it took part in the famous Stanley Raid. Former pilots attended the unveiling ceremony, including the first to fly XM603, Tony Blackman, and the last person to fly, Sir Charles Masefield. Cutting the ribbon at the event was Howard, a former apprentice at Woodford, who was offered the chance to fly in the Vulcan. He said that, this is years ago, he said that we went to over 50,000 feet over Anglesey, where you could see the curvature of the Earth. It was an absolutely magnificent experience. I'll never forget it, he said. Dave Pearce, project leader of the restoration, was reported in the Manchester Evening News saying, "Without a fantastic generosity of Leon, we would have struggled to complete the job in good time and to the standard befitting such a magnificent aircraft." Harrow Estates, landlord of the museum site, and HMG Paints also donated to the Vulcan's
I'm just
restoration.
put that picture up
Yeah,
there,
put the
I've never
picture
actually
there.
seen one in white before.
There we go.
This is mind blowing. It's just.
I quite like the way they've got the air intake covers there, as with the
just
XM603 and the
is
Vulcan
quite nice.
logo on there as well.
I mean, I still
nice.
think it's very sad that they're not flying, but then I would say that, I suppose. But they've got a good. It's such an incredible aircraft.
Seems like everyone's drinking beer in the chat room.
Yeah, I think they are, absolutely. Yes, there was Barbara had an excellent idea for the next poll, by the way, as well, which was along the lines of which pilot tells the best joke. Mainly because they're all a bunch of jokers, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So next story, moving on.
Yeah, okay, yes, sorry. And the next story, this is on the airforce-technology.com. So that's www.airforce-technology.com. And the headline is, oh dear, I saw the Lockheed Martin. All right there. Yeah. Don't they make a TriStar? Yeah,
Lockheed
right.
do.
Yeah, oh, right, yeah.
Funnily enough.
Yeah, Lockheed Martin delivers new C-5M Super Galaxy aircraft. The U.S. Air Force's USAF Air Reserve component, the 400 or the 433rd Airlift Wing, is set to receive a new C-5M Super Galaxy aircraft. With USAF serial number 87-0038, company number 124, the Lockheed Martin-built aircraft was delivered by Lockheed Martin from its facility in Georgia. This new aircraft will be assigned to the 433rd AW, the USAF Reserve Command Unit, located at Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas, USA. Lockheed said that this aircraft will be the fourth C-5M assigned to Lackland. The strategic transport aircraft is a modernised version of the legacy C-5. Reserve Base Massachusetts. Earlier, this 5 stop moving the mouse. Earlier, this 5-5. Oh, I can't even talk. I give up.
Carry on. You're there. Jennifer
Earlier,
loves
this
this story.
C-5M aircraft was assigned to Westover Air Reserve Base, Massachusetts, and flew to Stewart Air National Guard Base in New York. It underwent interior plant restoration and received its new Texas state flag tail flag. Before its final delivery. The C-5M Super Galaxy was ferried by an Air Force Reserve Command aircrew led by James Fontanella, the commander of the Fourth Generation Center, the FCG, at Headquarters Air Force Reserve Command, Robbins Air Force Base in Georgia. In December 1988, the aircraft was originally delivered to the USAF as a C-5B and had recorded around 18,950 flight hours. The C-5M Super Galaxy aircraft has been designed to extend the capability of the C-5 fleet to remain in service until 2040. It has a capacity to carry more cargo to longer distances and a payload of 6 mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAPS, or MRAPs, or up to 5 helicopters. Very cool.
So the C-5M, I just wonder what the difference was between that and the standard C-5. But the C-5M Super Galaxy had a massive avionics modernisation program. Which improved all the cockpit flight displays and all the stuff that controls the aircraft.
Very cool.
Reliability enhancements, re-enginening and stuff programs on the aircraft began in 2006. They re-engined the aircraft with General Electric F-138 GE-100 aircraft. Upgrades to the APU, power units, landing gear, the pressurization systems were upgraded. It's got a 30% shorter takeoff run and a 38% higher climb rate, increased cargo load and a longer range.
Wow.
So there we go.
Sounds good.
So next story on the military segment for this week is one close to home-ish in the UK here. This one's on the Guardian website, guardian.com. The headline, Red Arrow's future safe as Royal Air Force teams jets to be replaced. So, Defence Secretary Michael Fallon confirms Royal Air Force Aerobatics Unit here to stay for a while yet. Uncertainty over the future of the Red Arrows has been ended by news that the Daredevil aerial display team will have its Hawk T1 jets replaced.
Cool.
The Defence Secretary Michael Fallon said the internationally famous unit will continue to fly for years to come. Fallon said, "The Red Arrows are going to be here to stay for a while yet. They are a key part of our defence engagement." as we call it, around the rest of the world, and I don't think the public would let us lose the red arrows. No, I don't think either. They would be a massive outroar.
Onslaught, yes.
He made the announcement on Tuesday as the aerobatic display team, the Red Arrows, performed in a public display in China for the first time as part of a 60-day world tour, aiming to promote the best of British.
Very good.
The display on the opening day of the air show in China,
good old Brexit,
in Zhuhai, takes the number of countries the team has performed since 1965 to 57 countries around the world. The Red Arrows fly the BAE Systems Hawk T1 jets from RAF Scampton in Lincolnshire, where they have been based since 2001. Their aircraft can reach a top speed of just over 600 miles an hour, and the team can fly as low as 30 metres or 100 feet from the ground.
Goodness me.
So that's great news. It's good to hear that they're going to.
They're saying they're going to update. They're sort
the
of
aircraft,
like
new
aircraft.
Yeah.
And what? I'm going to put this
I
out
don't
to
know.
the chat room.
I have
What
no
aircraft
idea.
do you think? What aircraft do you think that they should replace the Hawk with?
F-35s. That'd be interesting to see.
What, really? Can you really do a display? Well, I suppose
You could
can,
do, yeah. Or passenger aircraft.
So what does the chat room think that they should replace?
I'll tell
the
you,
Hawk
he'll
with?
know the answer to this. Jonathan Warner. He'll
Yes,
know the
that's
answer to
true.
this,
Yes,
yeah.
he's not in the chat room
He's
today,
not,
so
no.
that's really not very helpful, is it?
No.
Okay.
So the last story
Yep.
in the segment this week, Matt found this one out.
I
actually,
did, yeah, absolutely.
earlier today.
Only because actually I found it because one of several of my friends, who all live in Norwich, were all tweeting about this horrific noise that they heard, and I'll read the headline, and you'll see why. So this is in our local newspaper, the local chip wrapper as they call it. This is the Eastern Daily Press, and the headline is "Fighter pilot responsible for causing sonic boom over Norwich to receive additional training," which I think basically means a slapped wrist in this day. So RAF Lakenheath has confirmed that a large bang heard over Norwich yesterday was caused by a brief sonic event. A spokesman for the airbase said that an F-15C Eagle assigned to the 48th Fighter Wing was responsible for the incident. The sonic boom, which occurs when an aircraft travels faster than the speed of sound, happened shortly after 1:40 p.m. and was heard across the city. A spokesman said, "We will conduct an investigation and develop mitigation measures. The pilot will receive additional training to prevent this in the future and will not fly again until his training is complete. We offer our sincerest apologies for any disturbance this may have caused, and we will continue to emphasise airspeed restrictions in flight briefings." The spokesman said that the speed restrictions are in place for aircraft flying over populated areas. Pilots are meant to stay below Mach 0.95, that's 728 miles per hour, to prevent them from flying over Mach 1, which is the speed of sound. How cool is that?
That is fairly fast, fairly
absolutely.
swift.
I've never actually heard a sonic boom, but I bet it's a sort of real ground shaker.
No, we where we live here is, as Matt know, in between sort of where me and Matt's villages are, because we do live in separate villages.
We do, yes.
But there is quite a bit of a valley, isn't there? And a lot of the Royal Air Force jets use us as as sort of a testing ground and stuff to do.
Airshow World has said lots of claims for broken fish tanks again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Actually, Matt, early this week on Wednesday afternoon, outside during the day, this was.
I was probably busy.
Well, actually, I'm surprised you didn't see them or hear them, because Wednesday afternoon we had a nice little sprinkling of Apache AH-64 gunships.
I did see them, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we had some of the AH-64 gunships flying around here from RAF Watersham, which is not far. It's one of those Royal Air Force bases that I fly over when I do cross-country runs. And, they were literally buzzing around here.
Yes, and
not very high.
I have to say, from where I was and where I saw one of them, it's a little bit terrifying. And I've had because there's one over at Ella, isn't there, that quite often lands, and because there's a solar farm that's just behind where Lambert's is, sorry, where the bus company that I work for is based. Oops, and as it lifts, as I say, I was walking across the yard. I think it was Wednesday. I was walking across the yard and I just saw this. It sort of popped up above the hedge. And it was just like, it looked a bit personal to me. It just popped its head up above the hedge and then just sort of like turned around and then flew off. But it was a bit like...
Yeah, actually, Paul Tricker, because Paul's one of our local listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said he saw the Apaches over one of our local
They were,
factories here
absolutely.
during the week as well. But
Yep.
yeah, you can't miss them.
No, you can't.
Because they just tend to sort of hover around and kind of give you bad looks and stuff,
they
dirty
do,
looks when
They
they're
look a
flying
bit
around.
angry.
They're very angry-looking helicopters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's either those or the Chinooks we have buzzing around here. I've
Yes,
got the Chinooks buzzing around here as well.
The Chinooks are the ones with the 2-rotor
Yeah,
things
they
on.
are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they sometimes come around here as well. So
Well, that is, I'm afraid, where we bring episode number 137 to a close. I know, it's gone very quickly.
It's gone very quick tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, just coming up towards 9 o'clock actually in the evening.
Yes, yeah, way past my bedtime.
It is way past your bedtime. Yeah.
I go to bed at 9.
Yeah, so we're going to bring the show to close. We're going to say a massive thank you to everyone who participated in the favourite livery questionnaire kind of poll that we've done, and that was KLM was the winner there. So well done,
and we
KLM.
shall do another one again very soon.
So anyone from KLM listening, me and Matt would love some free flights to go and see our friends.
I can say, do
over
they fly
at
to
Schiphol.
Pittsburgh? Yeah. No. Do they fly to Pittsburgh?
They might fly to Pittsburgh. Yeah, just for any of you guys and girls listening on the show at the moment on the in the world of podcasting, me and Matt are going to try our very best that we can to try and get to the Pittsburgh Air Show next year in May. We're currently kind of researching flight prices and stuff, which from the UK aren't actually that bad. The expensive flights are from internal flights from Boston kind of thing to Pittsburgh. So if anyone's got any ideas as to how we can get those flights incredibly more cheaper, that'd be very handy. Because I think if I pay the £1,000 that they're currently coming out at roughly at the moment, I'll be very much divorced
yes,
by
absolutely.
the end
Yes,
of
absolutely. Yeah, single
Christmas.
mad. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, we're going to try and get to the Pittsburgh Air Show next year. Fingers crossed. It's a big sort of kind of move for us, especially for Matt, because he's not the most happy person about flying anywhere long haul. But you know, we'd love your feedback if you can email the
Any
show
ideas would be great. Yeah.
about your ideas to try and find some cheap flights. So where can the listeners find out?
Well, yes,
some
you
more,
can
or email us.
You can take yourself to www.planetalkinguk.com. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/planetalkinguk. Our Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk, so you can find us in the world of Twitter. And our email address is podcast@planetalkinguk.com.
Yes, you can go there, find us, send us your feedback. We want to hear your voices. So all you people in the chat room at the moment who haven't, whose voices we haven't heard, you've got no excuses, because we want to hear what you just do. You can record it on your mobile phone or on your iPod thing.
You
or
can send it to me on Facebook. If
send
that
it
works.
to
Anything.
send it on
Just
Facebook.
Send it to me, and I can lift it.
Send it to us. At the studio, and we'll
gonna
play
be
it
good.
out on the show. So don't forget to join us next week for episode number 138 of the show. We're going to hopefully snag a guest for next week.
Are we?
For the show, which would be quite good.
What are you scheming?
It's someone that actually I'm going to try and get in the studio with us to join us.
What?
That'd be quite handy
What?
if I can.
We might have to go down to the kitchen for that one.
We possibly may have to.
Yeah.
Really?
A bit cosy in here for a guest.
Really? It's quite nice in here.
No, it is nice in here. But
It's lovely in here.
Yeah, it's a bit cosy in
okay.
in the spare room studio for a guest. I suppose they could sit there.
Barbara's just put in the chat room that we should perhaps travel across the pond in a cargo ship.
I mean, that is one way of dealing with my...
How many weeks hold have we got next year?
Not enough.
Not enough.
No,
No,
indeed.
not
Absolutely. Anyway, enough of this.
Enough of this. We're going to let you guys and girls disappear now, and we're going to wish you all a fantastic weekend. We hope you have a great weekend, whatever you've got planned. We're going to the cinema tomorrow to watch Inferno with Tom Hanks. Yep.
I'm going to a birthday party tomorrow.
Oh, are you?
Yes, in Yarmouth.
Oh, dear.
Great Yarmouth.
I shall give you a Kevlar vest before you leave.
Thank you very much. Yes,
Anyway,
much
on that
appreciated.
note, thanks everyone in the chat room for joining us. Loads of names to mention in there, and also to everyone who downloads the podcast, the audio podcast,
and our wonderful
massive thanks to
Patreon
you.
subscribers and our PayPal donators and everyone. You're all absolute stars.
Yeah, absolute stars. So have a great weekend, and from me, Carlos, sitting here on the right seat.
Yes.
I should be sitting on the left seat, really.
Well, I see.
So for me,
You
Carlos,
want to press all these buttons?
No,
do you?
not at all. Not at all. So for me, Carlos, it is have a great weekend and goodbye.
And from Matt here, it is goodbye.
Bye.